Oh, wow. I'm really late. I'm late, late, late. I am sorry about that. It's just been, time has been kind of all out of whack for me lately and all of that. Um, I want to talk a little bit about the whole Steve McRae Cheshire thing. I love Steve. I'm just going to tell you, I would love Steve for one reason alone, no matter if I didn't even know him well, because when KJ stood me up, when Catherine Joy stood me up on May the something or other 2020, was it? That's how long ago. Hey, that Amber chick. He was the one that reached out to me at a time when I was feeling like lower than crud. I was having a lot of problems with my asthma. I was really, really sick, and I was blaming myself for her not showing up and not telling me she was canceling the stream. So he was instrumental in reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, this is not you, this is her." And then showing me where all the times that she plagiarized from me. I had no idea about any of that. And Steve was very kind in how he did this. So whatever quarrels people have with Steve, I'm forever grateful for Steve for doing that. He woke me up. Loves to tell me their daily temps. Uh, oh gosh. Well, see, that's terrible. So anyway, that is my vantage point of Steve. Now I like Cheshire too. And I know a little bit about what's going on between Steve and Cheshire, but here's the thing I wanted to say today. It's possible to like people on both sides of a disagreement and to support both of them and to not get dragged in that disagreement and pull up your banners and your swords and you're going to behead this one and do that. There's no need for that. We're supposed to be all adults here. And that's really what I wanted to say. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, did it? Talking about Steve McRae and Cheshire. Maybe that was when KJ was taking her bath. Um, I don't know. I don't know, but he really he made me feel better at a time when I was thinking that something was seriously wrong with me, that maybe I didn't read people's intentions right, that maybe I had done something to cause KJ to do what she did. I was blaming myself and had no idea that she was plagiarizing me. So this disagreement between Cheshire and them, I'm not going to take sides. I'm not going to say, yay, Steve, yay, Cheshire. I'm just going to say, I hope both of you come away with what you need from this and with the least amount of hurt, because we're all human. We all have different ideas. We're all going to fall out every now and then. Um, Thanks, Lexi. This is something really old I'm wearing. So there's that. I was trying to just, and yesterday was funny because I did say something supportive of Cheshire in Twitter, and Steve came to talk to me, and I'm just like, Steve, I'm not getting in the middle of this. I'm seeing everybody else doing that, and I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going there. But we have something more important to talk about than Steve and any ongoing drama with him. Does anybody, the the pig that shall not be named, some of his mods quit yesterday. I'm not sure if they quit or if this was a staged quit, but whatever it was interesting because Nikki, who's left a number of nasty messages here, supposedly quit, and so did Just Doom. What was interesting to me about Just Doom is later he put up this, and I've got to read you this. This is the craziest ass statement I've heard in a long time. He put up an open letter to the pig who may not be mentioned, to my daddy. You have a piece of my heart and always will. I will always support you. I don't think you understand that I gave you a piece of my heart. I know it sounds gay. I've seen the man you really are behind the scenes. I know that your heart is good. I will always be here for you as a mod or not. I will never stick up for AZ because that woman is as vile as Real Entertainment News. and she gets even dirtier than most sane people on the interwebs. I will always be here for my daddy hog, and I will always stand beside you. Part of loving someone is accepting their faults and also loving their achievements. I will not abandon you. I can support you and disagree with you. It's part of respecting people. But as I said, I know the man you are, and I won't turn my back on you, Daddy. I chose you to be my family, and while you do say certain things I disagree with, I won't ever trade you in. Okay, so I've got a comment on that ever checked. That was my response first too. It's like, I really, really want to throw a Wilbur. I really want to throw up in my mouth when I was reading that the first time, the second time. And Bossy, I was thinking that, take another little piece of my heart, baby. When he was saying all that, that's possibly one of the most unhinged things I've ever seen on the internet. He gets one thing right. It is possible to love somebody and not completely 100% agree with them. That is possible. And the sooner people in the interwebs learn that, the happier they'll be. They don't take on everybody else's fights and burdens. But that he kept calling him daddy. What is that about? I am just so puzzled, disgusted, and giggling over that whole statement. One thing about Wilbur is, I've got coffee bits on my tongue. I just made my iced coffee mix, and sometimes some of the grounds get through. The thing about Wilbur is he seems to attract strong reactions. He just does. I'm not 100% sure why. Well, I know why he attracts strong negatives, because it's hard to sit there and listen to somebody that their entire platform is run on running down others. That's really hard to take, even if they're running down others you don't like. It's still just like, yikes, yeah. What is the percentage of agreement required for love? I don't know, Java Man. I think that I don't know, something to think about whether that is required for love or not. So it's like I have family members that I absolutely love, that I absolutely avoid because racism, all sorts of crazy reasons. Substance abuse. I love them from a distance. I don't talk to them much. I'm not interacting with them, and I still love them. It's possible. It's possible to love someone and not agree with them, and to not enable every single thing that they do. I just thought that statement that he made, besides the fact that it's just vile and makes you want to throw up, is pretty crazy, because he's calling me daddy. I mean, that sounds so weird. It sounds so weird for a man to be calling another man daddy. As violent off as the missus is, after the last 2 nights of shenanigans, I have to say I'm quite concerned for her safety. Gingerly, I have always been concerned for her safety, because my opinion has been all along that a man that talks like that to strangers on the interwebs is likely talking much worse to the people in his real life. And that's no lie. Domestic violence exists. We live in a world where that sort of thing exists, unfortunately. And past predicates future. I mean, if you have somebody that's got a pile of restraining orders, a bunch of exes that won't let him anywhere near them, there's pork. She's going to go up there. Then it's not a far stretch to say that when the going gets tough and the road gets bumpy, there's going to be some DV. I don't think it's that far of a stretch. Hey, Liz. Yeah, Willow Rain. I don't know why the daddy thing was just, that's just crazy. Daddy. I don't call anybody daddy but my daddy, my real daddy. in heaven or hell. Sure which. My my late father, this is the only person I will ever call daddy. I love my husband, but I will never call him daddy. He's not my daddy. And in fact, I've told him that before when he's tried to say, "Hey, I want you to do this, this, and this." Like, who made you? Who died? Made you my daddy? Nobody. So there's that. So the daddy statement. The AZ stream last night was something else. When the sister-in-law, hey bossy, yeah. So the sister-in-law came on and she talked about the hogs and she made it sound like they're kind of the lying liars who lie. And she didn't know anything about a lot of this stuff. She doesn't even know if the Mrs. is expecting. Yeah, I couldn't believe any of that was going down. None of that. And here's the thing with the mods turning in their wrenches. The mods have also had alternative IDs that they've modded under too. And I think what we're seeing is we're seeing them publicly denouncing in them and probably coming right back in under their second IDs to continue modding. That's what I predict will happen. I think that everything with Wilbur will get a lot more awful before he gets completely booted off the platform. It's coming. And Mrs. was having a temper tantrum from what I heard. Yes, supposedly she kept texting, I guess it would be her brother, and trying to get the sister-in-law off. Yeah, I don't trust the mods either. I just don't. This is not I always tell people, this is not my first SHIT rodeo. There's a picture I love that I should have used at the beginning of this, of a guy sitting on a sofa smoking a cigarette, grinning. The other half of the sofa is on fire. He says, "This is not my first rodeo." And that's kind of how I'm looking at this and a lot of things. And like I said, even with creators fighting that I like, are just kind of like, yeah, you two iron it out between the two of you. I'm not getting involved. I'm not taking up a banner or pulling out a sword for anybody at all. I know it was some kind of, as far as I can tell, it looks like there were some expectations that people had that were unmet. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know how far that goes. I ate my popcorn last night, though. I cannot lie. Oh, that amber chick. It was hard not to. Oh, my God. If I hadn't been dragging my ass around like the most exhausted woman on the planet, I would have been watching all of the streams. As it was, I dipped in and I dipped out. Since I've been out of the hospital, one of the things that's happened is I've been super crazy exhausted. I don't even know why. I'm guessing because I had heart involvement and lung involvement. And my body is saying, oh my God, what did you put us through this time? So I've been dragging my ass around at the slowest speeds possible, doing very little. Yesterday, the only thing I did of any substance was I went out and bought a printer scanner because I was trying to submit my $7,000 hospital bill to my insurance company and I couldn't scan in the documents. My scanner died. And that was hard. I sent a creator, I'm very familiar with, a message about the stream. She said she left the stream already before she was on. She went back on after I told her she was on. AZ's face when the sister-in-law first came on was everything. I absolutely agree. I've had mixed feelings about AZ. There's times I've liked her, sometimes like, girl, no. But I have to say, she's consistent and she does have integrity. That's the thing for me with creators. It's easy for anybody to come on for a week, a month, 6 months and foment drama and hurl accusations. I'm looking at you. I am looking at you, miss, with a true ball of wax. To make accusations that don't have any kind of basis in reality, they don't have any kind of proof, and then F off. A lot of people do that. I mean, we see that in this community. People get all mad and one thing or another, and I'm kind of like just off to the side going, because, yeah. So I love when AC asked her if she was coming in peace. Yes, yes. And that's the thing. So I have a lot of empathy for the sister-in-law who came across as calm, rational, and truthful. Something that the swine that shall not be mentioned and Mrs. Swine do not come across as. They come across as unbalanced. They come across as like so many families I've had to deal with in a professional capacity and try to figure out what was going on and who was beating on who and whether the children were being abused, any of that. So I'm hoping that for de-escalation in hostilities, but I'm thinking what's going to happen is it's just going to rank it. It's just going to rile it up even more, because last night after AZ got on, I saw that the swine who cannot be mentioned was on. I didn't go into his live stream. I don't give him the views. But I heard later that he deleted the entire thing. That seems to be his new thing. If he's going to call somebody the C word and worse, and make allegations and beg people to report others for food stamp fraud or whatever, he tends to delete the stream immediately afterwards. AZ made a comment that she's taken a step back from lives, etc., because of the drama associated. Props to her. Most people dive deeper into it for views. AC seems to have a brain and know when to say uncle. The Miz is on his channel. It was the Mrs. Okay. I assumed it was him. Stupid, silly me. Why didn't she go on her own channel? I'm very confused by that. I think the pig pen is going to be slinging more mud than a tornado. Absolutely, I'm sure they will. That's all they have. You have to think about that. I've thought about that a lot lately, especially when I've just been laying in a hospital bed with nothing to do except scream at the nurses every time they check my blood pressure and or try to move my IV line again. Is think about some of these things and think, in a real world way, none of this matters a bit. Right now, the Wilbur family is getting a lot of views, and they're getting their little $200 and $300 and $400 YouTube payments. Bully for them, but it's unsustainable. Sustainable. She's rubbing off on me. It's unsustainable. If you have a channel, you have to have something more to talk about than everybody else's drama. You better be talking about something of more substance. It's like the next live I do, I'm going to talk about Costa Rica and the digital nomad, because there's a lot of things that you need to know when you come here as a digital nomad. And yesterday's purchase of a printer scanner fits in with that. It fits in with that entirely. Just another troll. Yeah, Yeah, I'm better. I'm just going to be very slow getting better. I mean, I guess I'm going to have to rest more. Yesterday, just being driven 3 miles to the computer store, buying the printer, coming back and installing it, sitting here and scanning in receipts, I was just whacked. Today, I'm going to try to fold clothes. I don't know how that'll go, but at least I can sit on the bed and do that. And then I'll probably will take a sweet, sweet nap. How are they getting paid if I never get an ad on their stream? I don't know, Brenda Lee. Any possibility they're in bed with KJ because their attitude towards him? Yeah, well, I thought about that too. I said that early on, that I thought that he may be in league with KJ in some way. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, you're crazy. He hates KJ." But there's some things that have been said and done that make me think that it's a distinct possibility. We cannot rule it out at all. It's a possibility that he's in bed with KJ. I know it sounds crazy. Oh, and I gave myself a visual. I definitely do not want it in my brain either. Oh, my word. Supposedly she's taking her maternity leave until the end of March. Sure, Jan. I hope she does. Just another troll. She needs to. If she is actually pregnant and due anytime soon, this is the last thing she needs. She doesn't need drama. She doesn't need fighting with people online. She needs to concentrate on her family and on the baby. No doubt some will be releasing, I'm sure. KJ in total an insane amount of steroids. Yes. Bobby Cat. Yes. God, Bobby Cat, bless his heart. He makes me laugh so hard with the stuff that he does. Imagine what their children will be like. Java Man, I'm imagining a psychiatric bill big enough to build a California beach home for some lucky shrink somewhere for those children. I'm sad to say that. When you grow up in that kind of dysfunction, with that kind of yelling and screaming and carrying on, you know what that leads to? I'm just going to tell you, it leads to being raised as a child with lots and lots of unhealthy coping mechanisms. And I'm speaking from the choir for the choir here. I'm preaching for the choir because for me, that's what it was. You know, I was raised in a very dysfunctional alcoholic family, and I've required massive amounts of therapy to get to where I am now. And I have nothing but compassion for kids that are raised in those kinds of environments. Because as a kid, you don't get a choice. You don't get to say, hey, get the heck away from me, or hey, I'm leaving. And you are stuck there as a hostage to fortune until you're 18. One lone voice, you have a few theories going on. Yeah, I'm thinking about that too. I'm thinking about that. I have been. Oh, they're actually acting like just like KJ. Yes, they are. Mrs. was saying something about how she hopes Nat doesn't go after her brother and sister-in-law. Honey, you were the ones to re-release Nat into the community. You are the only ones to blame for that. Exactly. Nat had been persona non grata. Nobody was having anything to do with her until Mr. Pig decided that he was going to talk to her and ask her questions and bring her into the community. Which just makes me mad because that circles on back to Steve and Tina and Aaron, who I can tell you from knowing all three of them, they are not some kind of evil cabal trying to take down KJ using hackers. No, 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 no. It is not a cult. Not at all. I wanted to say something about this pregnancy so bad, but I don't want to look like an awful person because I'm not. I just know enough people like her and how they think. And I won't doubt if my thought happens. Bossy, you and I are probably on the same page on that because I'm not 100% convinced myself. Supposedly she was getting a break when she was actually in jail. Hey, Kara, here's the thing. I've always laughed about that. In the States, I used to say, when my husband said, oh, you can't do that, you might go to jail. I said, I would welcome jail. Jail would be a vacation. In jail, I wouldn't have to clean. I wouldn't have to cook. I wouldn't have to chase after you guys and say, hey, did you bring your raincoat or your galoshes or whatever? Wear a hat. I wouldn't have to do any of that shit. I could just sit back and read books. And that would be a vacation. I've said that a number of times. So I'm going to give her a pass on saying that jail was a break because it may have been, even though she was in jail. Hey, Prairie. Did you see that Nat is making an appearance on his live yesterday afternoon? I saw the clip of that. And I saw that he just shut her down. Good for him. I never thought I'd say I approve of Wilbur, but Wilbur did the right thing. I think she's very relieved when Roadhog is yelling at anyone for her. I think so too. I think that is one of her abuse avoidance scheme. Nat made an appearance at AZ's live the other night, but the mods were lightning fast. That's good to hear. Good to hear. I truly don't know much about these two. I don't watch him, and all I know is what I see on Twitter. You all know Twitter is. Twitter's a hot mess. I'm just going to say it's a hot mess. I watched him once when he read the letter from KJ's lawyer. That letter we all got, that lovely, lovely letter that I laughed over because he was ordering me to keep correspondence between KJ and I that KJ had already deleted. Yes, the Wilbur references from Charlotte's Web. That Wilbur was a terrific little pig. Once he started calling me the C word, I had to find a way to refer to him that pretty much diffused that for me. So Wilbur was a good one. I don't know who came up with Wilbur, but it was a good one to latch on to. Deborah confirmed that she has been in jail while she was denying it. It's hard to deny those paperwork too, legal paperwork. So there's a lot of us thinking the same thing about the pregnancy. They can't get their stories straight to save their lives. It's insane. You'd think they talk about this beforehand and say, hey, we're denying this. Yeah, I love Twitter too, that ever check. I hate to say it, that was the worst thing about being in the hospital is I could access just about everything I do on my iPad. I could not access YouTube Studio and I could not access Twitter. The last time when I put in all these two-level, two-step verification, authentication things, I've neglected to bring my code book with me with my various passwords. So those two things I was locked out of because my husband was teasing me and said, I bet you're going to do a video right from your hospital bed. And I said, maybe. So you want me to show the crazy places where they've tried to stick all the IVs? So, I don't know who NK is. We're talking about Mrs. Wilbur, Mrs. Hogg. She was in jail over the long weekend. If you're going to get arrested, don't do it on a Friday before there is a Monday federal holiday because you're just going to sit in there for a day longer. Post-divorce, my dad said he would occasionally turn himself in on some default warrant to get 3 meals a day and his teeth worked on. Jail is really a break for some, I guess. Yeah, I think it is. Like I kept saying, for me, I would tell them that would be wonderful not to cook or clean. Charlotte on the web. Wilbur's overlord. That would indeed. You go, Charlotte. You be his overlord. You force him to behave himself. Yeah, but Nat did show up. And they just shut her down. Thankfully, Nat's not having much to do with anything except to do with traffic tickets. My thought is, who was with the kids? Carol, here's what I know from some of the work I've done in the past. Whenever you have police involvement like that and you pull somebody over and they've got a pile of warrants, or just one warrant or whatever, and they have a pile of children in the back seat, what happens is the person is arrested and hauled to jail. The children are usually sitting there at the police station, if the police are nice, until a family member can come get them a couple hours. Most of the time, that's what they do. Not always. Sometimes some stations are not playing. They call CPS right away. CPS takes custody of the child or children until a family member can arrive and take custody. CPS doesn't want any additional children. That's the grand lie that fundamentalism likes to tell everybody in Quiverful, is that CPS is out to snatch your child. No such thing. They don't have room to put everybody's kid. She lies about everything else. Some things that make absolutely no sense at all. So why not lie about that? That's true. Very true. But here's the thing, right before, I hate to admit this even, right before I came on here, when I was getting dressed, I was listening to, on repeat, something that makes me laugh my ass off is Elvis Presley singing Old MacDonald Had a Farm, okay? I just kept listening to that and laughing, thinking about, he calls himself a pig and a hog and all this stuff. You know what happens to pigs and hogs and wild boars? Somebody turns them into sausage eventually. The only one I saw that ever escaped was Wilbur. Wilbur got made into a hero, some pig, terrific, all of that. We used to get people from the jail on our hospital unit, and they needed medical attention, so they turned themselves in. But one guy was a frequent flyer. Oh, Carol, that is awful. Prairie. Mrs. Pig was in jail because on either Friday, I think Friday, a week ago Friday, she was pulled over for speeding with her kids in the car, no less. And it came up she had a warrant. She had a warrant on an old traffic ticket from way back. So they had a warrant on her out for arrest. So that's what they did. They picked her up Friday afternoon on a holiday weekend. Means that you ain't getting out of there until Tuesday at the earliest. So she was taken to jail for that. Now, I don't know. She paid the fine and she bonded out. Whatever happened, she had to go before the judge and do whatever they do, whether it's a fine or a bond or anything. But she said they let her take her car home. They followed her there. I think it's because the kids are with her. But she is adamant that the kids were home. Who knows? Just another troll. You may be right. She may have lost that child and not ready to disclose. Oh. Bossy, I just for a second just touched upon that because there's not really enough foster parents in the system to take everybody. So there's that. It isn't pretty. My grandfather used to slaughter hogs every year, Bouchandolais in Louisiana, and we would have that in November, and it's not pretty. And every part of the pig gets used. I mean, literally every part but the squeal and the tail. And the little tail gets fried up. It's not pretty. I saw that, Kira. Her claims, Mrs. Hogg claimed to filed a protective order against AZ. It would at best be a TRO, and she would have to come to court and prove why she was afraid of her for it to be turned into an RO. It's different here. Here you can get an RO like that. They call it a denuncia. Just show up at the police station with your evidence, and if they think that you're being threatened, that's it. My 2 cents. I think they need foster parents so bad they don't have the people or the time properly vetted yet. Totally different than adoption. I think if you have a home and a pulse, you're approved. Bossy, yes. And if you go through all the training, because there's a significant amount of training involved. And if you want to be a girlfriend of mine's a therapeutic foster parent, which requires even more training, and they get the hardcore cases, the hard nuts. So anyway, when you have all this stuff going on and you've got kids in the family that are experiencing this all of the time, it can be a relief for them to go into foster care for a few weeks or go with a relative that's not involved in it. Kids crave stability. They don't tend to do well in this constant chaos. Parents that inflict constant chaos on their children are harming them for all time. They don't seem to understand that. Mrs. H claims she did it online. My hubby and I went to look into it, but I'm afraid I would be denied because I'm on disability and on certain meds. Oh, you may, but they may be shorthanded enough where they will go ahead. I think that with these, is the pregnancy real or not? That's not really any of our business. And it sounds crazy, but you can't use your pregnancy as an excuse if you're not going to prove or not prove. That would be like me saying, let's see how I rephrase this. This would be like me saying, you can't pick on me ever because I have heart problems. Okay. I don't actually have heart problems. I did have a problem with my fever was 104. My heart started doing crazy things, but I don't have heart problems. So if I were to say, you can't say negative things about me because I have heart problems, and somebody came and said, hey, um, you're saying you have heart problems. I see no evidence of that. At that point, it would behoove me to say, yeah, here, look at my EKG, or, uh, yeah, none of your business, or whatever. But you don't talk about using excuse, and then try to say, it's none of your business. You really do need to put up or shut up. Yeah, that Amber chick, I agree. And that bossy, you should try. Like I said, it really depends upon how great the need is as to who they approve and how they approve them. Just another troll, exactly. I would pull up my shirt and say, "Here it is, bitches." Vidrana, hi. So, and hi to anybody else I neglected to say. Yeah, bisexual, just wants to sleep with women. That kind of blows my mind that she even makes that claim, because she only started making that claim when people started calling her. We're talking about KJ now. When people started calling her homophobic, that's when she's, I can't be homophobic, I'm bisexual. Yeah, she's never slept with another woman. And it's not unheard of to have those urges to look at other women and or other men or whatever and think, damn, that's quite attractive. I mean, anybody can appreciate anybody else without it being them being bi or gay. I mean, it just is what it is. Yeah, if you can't handle a little heat, YouTube is not for you. That's exactly right. That's what I've said. I don't know if she's done a GoFundMe. I know right now that there is his Wilbur's minds were asking everybody to donate to a, not a GoFundMe, but to go ahead and PayPal him money so he could hire a private detective. Talk about pouring money down a rat hole. That would be it. Him hiring a private detective. What is he going to private detect? I mean, I don't know. All the stuff he's pulling out now, he's pulling out of his ass, and what does he think he's going to accomplish, and who is he going to be private detecting on? My husband points out good-looking gentlemen, but in a fashion and self-care admiration type of way. He's not body. Yeah, exactly. That's how it is for me when I see beautiful women on the beach or around here. I'll say, wow, she's beautiful. Yes, Prairie, she's been claiming for months and months and months to be pregnant, and she has moved that due date around more times than somebody playing Yahtzee moves around the die. And so nobody really knows for sure. She's claimed it in an attempt to have people not be mean to her. She said, "Oh, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant. They want to take the baby before Thanksgiving." Well, we're a little ways from before Thanksgiving now. So embarrassing, and I'll leave it here. I started a GoFundMe out of pure desperation about ketamine infusions. I desperately needed. Not one person donated. Oh my God! I bet. That's why I would be mortified too to do one of those. If nobody donated, it would be so embarrassing. And I don't know that I could get anybody to donate. Don't you need subpoena to get info from YouTube, Twitter? Yes, you do, Willow. You absolutely do. The lady pig, yes, we're talking about the lady pig. I'm sorry. Private detecting for what in the world? I don't know. Good question. Good question. Maybe she is Wilma Professstone, who was pregnant for over 12 months. Yep. 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 KJ is joyfully unavailable to both men and women. AZ did not go looking for Pig Family. Pig Family fell in her lap. It's a big, big difference. So I'm not really sure why she thinks all of a sudden that, well, he thinks all of a sudden that he's got to retaliate. Like I said earlier, all we do is a crazy ass arms race that just keeps escalating to insane levels. And Michelle's like rhinoceros. Those pregnant 2 years, maybe. Absolutely. The vast majority of GoFundMe's don't make any money. The only ones who get the media attention usually make money. I ran a GoFundMe where I raised $22,000. I'm pissed off that I did it now. Why? Because I was being worked by Vicki Garrison, the original owner of No Longer Quivering, to raise money so she didn't lose her house. Vicki started in the last 5 or 6 years of our relationship, tried to use me as a wallet to raise money for her, to run this GoFundMe, run that one. And it got to be old. And anytime I would make, a decent sum of money, she'd want to cut. It's like, girl, I worked for this. You did not. So when it became obvious at one point she had 7 GoFundMes and people had turned against her, it was like, no more. I did raising that $22,000 was blood, sweat, and tears and constant begging, and it was just too much. Elephants 2 years. Son's coworker works for rhinos at the zoo. Oh, that's cute. That's cool, Liz. I like that. No, she does not. I never watched Roadhog. I clicked in a few times, and he was always brutally berating somebody. That's kind of how I am. I watched him a few times for a few minutes and did the same thing. Just ask Surrey. Rhinoceros is pregnant for 475 days. Prairie, you're absolutely right. Vicki should get a job. I had to actually, thank you so much, Mrs. McMasshole. I have to laugh over your name. When I worked at getting people set up to take the social work exams, there are certain area codes that when they would pop up on the phone, they're going, "Oh no, it's going to be a mess," because they allow a certain level of registration that other states don't, except for Utah, and you tend to get some pretty crazy people in that group for some reason. Oh, poor elephants. Yeah, I feel for them too. 3 categories of birth for placentals. That's interesting. Oh, no. Brendale was like that. I knew within days. $22,000. Yes, you only needed 1,500. It took a lot of begging, a lot of going around and talking on a lot of streams, a lot of people shaking the bushes the year that Vicki was Atheist of the Year to raise that $22,000. We did it, and then Vicki turned around and complained to me that she had to pay taxes on it. And she wanted me to raise money to pay her taxes. I'm like, no, I love my masshole accent. I love the accent too. Y'all are hearing some weird stuff, then my stream is probably dropping. I probably need to go then. Plus, I'm starting to feel weird again. I got to go lay down. It's the never-ending recovery, I guess, from the stupid stuff. Bossy, there aren't that many people. There's some that hire that do online work, and it's just hard to find. If you could find a way for her ex to hustle an income with them, she could do the same for herself. Yep. Yep. Like I said, I'm not really too sure, but we just need to be not being drug into this crap and just listening and just making our own decisions. Like I said, I don't buy the pregnancy either. You just have to make an informed opinion. Make an informed opinion doesn't mean you have to jump out there and attack everybody and say, this is terrible. It's like, more for me, it's more like, bless your heart. And yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about with Steve and them, because I like Steve, I like Chesh. And I'm not gonna jump in there and take horrible sides. I'm just not going to do it. Now, does that mean I'm not going to look at the evidence and make decisions on my own? Well, yeah, of course. We all do that. Ninja watching today, but your stream is good here. Mama Bear one, hey, 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 hey. Listening is a powerful skill, and you have to develop it. You have to work on it. I'm not always the best about it. I've gotten better as I've gotten older, particularly since I've learned that some people misunderstand anything coming out of your mouth. Okay, you guys, I got to get better. We actually have guests coming in 2 weeks. And I've already told my husband he's going to have to hire a maid between now and then. And we've already had somebody come in and do one clean. Yeah, Manya turned on him. I don't know. I just don't know. Today shall be a good day for going down some rabbit holes. Exactly, Willow Rain. It's a good day for that, at least. I'm going to lay in my bed, my iPad, and just looking at everything. Okay, love you guys. Have a great Sunday. The sun is shining here. The birds are singing. It's a happy day.